Tyvis, I felt a strange sense of closure as a Buckeye fan over this game. I'm curious if you felt the same. Because
why do you feel closure?
Well, I'll tell you. Because I know there had been this narrative, and there still is. Ohio State lost to Indiana, by 3?
Mm-hmm.
Lost barely, didn't lose a very close game to Miami. And so the two teams in the national championship are the two teams the Buckeyes lost to. And I feel like that somewhat helped me a little bit with the closure because it's like, all right, these are teams that I think, at least with Miami, I felt like Ohio State should have won that game. Ohio State was there to win that game. Miami played a game that I didn't understand defensively why Ohio State played off their receivers when Carson Beck has a noodle arm. I didn't understand a lot of things for that game, why they got 0 penalties called on them. I didn't understand a lot of things in that game, how it went. Offensive game plan was weird. Couldn't figure out the right side of the offensive line for the 100th time this year. All that. Against Indiana, I feel like even though Ohio State was closer in that game, I feel like even if you make a field goal there and tie the game up, Fernando Mendoza was going to make a play. He made plays all night. He made plays all year for Indiana. And I feel like last night, seeing them win that game with him making plays, with him diving across the end zone for that touchdown, it brought me the closure that, this was not Ohio State's year. Ohio State was not going to beat that Indiana team because nobody was going to beat that Indiana team. I feel that sense of closure from last night.
You know what that is?
What's that?
Loser talk. That's what that is. No, I didn't have any sense of closure. If anything, it made me more upset. I just felt like this season for Ohio State, yes, and in Dylan's words, they've overachieved exceeded our expectations of what we thought preseason with this team. But at the end of the day, the standard is the standard. And the standard was set by the guy who is the head coach. He's the one that said, we got 3 goals. Beat the team up north, win the Big Ten, and win the national championship. You did 1 out of the 2. It's not a great goal, not a great accomplishment.
You know who that sounds like, Tyvis?
It's the lunatic fringe.
I think you're part of the fringe now.
No, it's not part of the fringe. It's just that's what the standard is.
It's disappointment.
I feel like when I look at these two teams, one, Ohio State didn't play their best in neither one of those games, and they still had a chance to win, and they didn't.
Yeah.
If they played to the ability that, because that's the difference between last year's team and this year's team is when they lost to the team up north, those 3 or 4 games that they played after that, they played to their absolute potential every time, and it wasn't close.
Yeah.
And when you look at this team from Ohio State this year, as the season went on and they got better and better, and they set the standard to a new standard of what we expected out of this team, they didn't meet that expectation in neither one of those games, and that's why they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, they played a half probably at best in both games.
What I'm saying is, Ohio State showed you that, we thought, I personally, I don't know if you feel this way, I never thought Ohio State hit their potential this year.
No.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, we've been saying Ohio State should have been able to play better. Julian Sayin should have been able to do more. All these different things with this offense. But the reality is, maybe we were just wrong. Defensively, this was one of the most historic defenses we've ever seen in college football. And this offense, when the time came for it to perform, didn't. We were assured by every coach, oh, don't worry, they've got another gear. Ryan Day, we'll throw it into gear when we need to.
That right there, never
happened.
That comment right there is what makes this season so bad, because coming into the season, it wasn't the offense that everybody feared. Everybody knew that the offense would be good. It was the defense that everybody was like, I don't know.
But why did everyone think that when you have a quarterback who'd never played any meaningful snaps in college football coming in to run this offense?
Because the Texas game happened where he looked.
No. But before that, to your point, people were like, oh, don't worry, Julian Sayin's just going to have it in the bag. And I kept saying, I don't know that. We don't know that. But you're right. In that Texas game, when they won that first game, it took care of a lot of our fears.
Yeah, Julian Saying in his games, a lot of these games that he played early on, he looked like a guy that's played a ton of football. I mean, he was able to handle the playbook easily. He was going to the right places. He was making the big-time throws. So it was like, oh, okay, so then this is a guy, And if that defense, and then the defense just continued to play lights out. And then when we got to the big, important games, it was like the defense continued to play lights out, and then the offense started struggling. Then the young Julian, who we thought we should have seen against Texas, or when we seen some of those games early in the season, we thought this is when he should have had those moments, and he didn't. And that's why it was like, okay, maybe he doesn't have that. But then you get to Indiana and Miami, and he gets heated up a little bit, and now he's missing, not seeing stuff down the field, got happy feet and all of those things. It's just like, to me, he picked the wrong 2 games to look young.
Well, I think that's one way to read it. Another way to read it is the 3 best defenses you played, Texas, Indiana, Miami, this offense didn't score 20 points, right? I mean, that's fair too.
Yeah.
So, but like the good news is this is college football and you can develop and you can turn it around. And Julian Saying can continue to get better. This year, he won't have Carnell Tate to throw passes to. Now, I have a lot of other guys who maybe one of them will step up and be the next Carnell Tate, right? Or I don't know. He'll still have Jeremiah Smith. But, yeah, it's. I felt like I got closure last night because I said, oh, yeah, Ohio State just – it's not that they didn't have the talent that Indiana had. They were not as good of a team, and they were not as well coached as Indiana. Bottom line, you have a better coach at Indiana, and you have a better overall team who played together. Complementary football, offense and defense, special teams were not neglected by Indiana like they have been here for the last 7 years. Or, I don't know, not when Urban was here they weren't, but they've been kind of since Ryan Day got here. It's like an afterthought with this special team. So they did that score them a touchdown in this game? Did it score? I think it counted for 10 points in this game. They won by 6. So, yay, special teams being taken as seriously as offense and defense kind of matters. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's where I got my closure last night was I said, oh, yeah. I mean, I see the difference. I see what Kurt Cignetti does from a different standpoint than what we're doing here. And that's where you got to level up. And that's where now Ohio State has something to chase in the Big Ten.
Well, my biggest concerns for next year, for Ohio State next year, would be, can Matt Patricia replicate that defense after having to get all these new pieces again? Can he put them all in a position to be as successful as he did this year? That's one. Who is the offense coordinator? Who's calling the plays? That would be 2. And then 3 would probably be, is Cortez Hankton is his name?
Hankins, I think.
Hankton?
Whatever, yeah. The new wide receiver coach.
Yeah. Because the thing is this. We're counting on Chris Henry Jr. to be a dude next year.
Yeah.
And the guy who's been developing those dudes is not developing this guy. So, like, you got, like, Jeremiah Smith, he's had that from Brian Hartline. Brandon Ennis, he had that. But everybody else, this is all his project now.
Yeah.
Can he get those guys prepared? Because the standard is high for the wide receiver position. Can he get those guys to come in and immediately have impacts like we've seen from a Jeremiah Smith and stuff like that? So those are the 3 things that I'm worried about.
I totally agree. By the way, if you want to see if the Buckeyes do get to the national championship next year, good news. They won't be there for at least another year because the next national championship game is in, obviously, 2027. We're in 2026 now. It is scheduled to be played on January 25th.
Dang.
Today is January 20th, so we have more than a year
Sheesh.
until the Isn't that stupid as F? What are we doing?
As we sit here and complain about moving it up, they pushed it back.
I mean, I would like to see it wrapped up by New Year's Day, and we're literally talking, we're closer to February. In the next few years, I think they're all in the January 20-somethings is where the national championships. It makes no sense.
Well, if they go to 24, might be later.
No,
It could be the Monday after the Super Bowl. So we're closing in on now.
We do that?
We're getting close.
When's President's Day? Let's just move it back to everybody can have that. It's a federal holiday. Let's just put it there. This is dumb. What are we talking about? This should be closed. We should have this all wrapped up by New Year's Day. And instead, we're pushing almost into February next year. Stupid. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. Former Jackets legend, R.J. Umberger, going to join us. We're going to talk a little Jackets with him next.